Save My Piggies, Your Life, Your Limb, Your Story, with host Dr. John Phillips and Kim McNicholas.
And I'd like to bring in Judy. Judy, you go ahead and unmute and say hello.
Good afternoon, everyone, from a very wet and windy UK. Autumn has arrived.
Should I even ask who Mama Goose is?
No, don't even go there. And just rest assured that one of my daughters will be killed soon. Just saying. Just want you to know that, okay? Oh. Hey ho, 'tis what it is. Thank you so much for having me. I'm terrified I'm going to lower the tone here and be one of your really stupid patients, but I came on because I think it's important for people like me who have smoked for many, 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 many years. No excuse, but I have. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because for me, it's one of the only things that doesn't cause me pain. I found that really interesting. Most other things I do cause me pain. That doesn't. So it's sort of like, that's really interesting to me. I think with my diagnosis of P.A.D, the consultant has already told me there's not a lot they can do apart from a life-threatening operation, which, so you sort of think, okay, I don't really want that. But she also did say, and fair play to her, I was quite impressed with her, that for me to give up now after so many years would probably not be the wisest thing. So she has asked me to cut down, which I'm trying really hard to do. It does make me walk more because I don't smoke in the house. I go outside, so I have to walk to get there. I do get the thing about boredom. Yes, if I'm bored, I do. It's the first thing I reach for. But I think here in the UK, it's really interesting listening to all the lovely people that have contributed on here. We do not have the same system as you. So basically, I'm just left now. I've got P.A.D, nothing you can do unless it gets really bad. I'm lucky if I get to see the GP once a year, really lucky. So we're sort of left to our own devices, I think. But the biggie, and this is where I am stupid, and I can hear you all thinking it, and you're right. You've really got to want to give up. And I guess the bottom line is, I can't see why I would give up, because to be honest, living with P.A.D for me, because it is quite bad for me, is an existence, not a life, if you get my meaning. And I'm not sounding pathetic or anything like that. It's a fact. It's an existence. So what basically I'm saying, I guess, is that I just hang on to something that A, I enjoy, and B, doesn't give me pain. So that makes me an idiot. It does, because we all know you quite rightly stress the importance of giving up smoking. So I genuinely don't know what the answer is. I don't know if I'd ever, I guess if I was in the lady before situation where maybe I was on my way to theatre for an amputation, yeah, maybe I probably, but I can only say probably, I'm not definite, would give up.
So let me just jump in. Mama Goose, thanks for sharing your story. And, you know, this is not a story of somebody who lives across the pond. This is a story I hear every day from my patients on this side of the pond. So people, you know, who have been smoking for 40, 50, 60 years, it's very hard for them to quit. And it is truly, truly very difficult. And actually, smoking or the nicotine addiction is one of the most difficult addictions to get over with. So I think when I have a patient like that, and believe me, I have patient on the table going through the procedure, and typically when I'm intervening on somebody, those patients are lightly sedated so we can converse. And I will show them on the screen, like what is going on. So for maybe 10 minutes, they will say, oh my God, I gotta quit. And literally 15 minutes later, I go outside and I see the same person in the waiting area or outside in the parking lot, post procedure, having a hamburger and having a cigarette. So this is not unusual. So what happens is when I see that patient next time, we will have the same discussion, again being non-judgmental. And what is very important, and I think you are right, so it has to come from within yourself. So patients who are really really addicted, if they're smoking 20 cigarettes a day, right? So what I tell them, okay, what is the most important time when you really really want the cigarette? And I can tell you because I used to smoke way back when. So, and I'll give my example. So when I used to smoke, my favorite time to smoke would be early in the morning when you get up, you have your tea or coffee, and you want to have your cigarette, and then you go do your daily business. Or typically after dinner, you have a good meal and you want to have a smoke. So I tell my patients, okay, so if you have two times of the day where you really, really want to have a cigarette, go ahead and stick with those two, occasions, and then rest of the day, try to beat the habit. So again, giving my example, my biggest issue was having something in my hand, right? So what I started doing was I would hold a pencil or something to kind of ease that temptation of having a cigarette between my fingers. And then I would, have a gum or cardamom or clove or something in my mouth to break that cycle. Okay. And then I did use Chantix, and it took me about 2.5, 3 months to get over it. And then the way I tested myself was that once I got to the point where I would not be able to stand the smell of the cigarette. So I would go and stand with my friends who I used to hang out with who were smoking, and I would not smoke. So when I got to that point, I knew I could beat that habit. So it was a slow process, but it is doable. So somebody like you who enjoys the cigarettes and has been smoking for many, many, many years, I think the first thing is to realize that it's a problem. And the second thing is minimize the problem and eventually get over the problem. So nobody is saying that you got to quit now, but I think reducing the number of cigarettes from 20 to 10 to 5 to 2 a day, that should be the goal. So if you enjoy a cigarette with a drink once in a blue moon, okay, but you got to understand that smoking is a killer, especially when you have vascular disease, whether it is coronary, peripheral arterial disease, strokes, diabetes, what have you. So it's a problem, but you got to overcome the problem. You have to understand that you have a problem, and then find means to distract yourself and get over it. Um, Many patients tell me, hey, doc, I've been smoking 60 years, and this is the only thing which gives me pleasure. True, but not true, because I think many times we are smoking to distract ourselves from other issues. So it's a distraction. So you have to identify the problem, identify the issue which you are trying to mask by smoking. And very importantly, I think this group is actually a great forum. So you guys can discuss amongst yourselves, like, okay, I have the urge to smoke. Get online, find somebody online who is in the same boat and talk. And then maybe that will help you get over it. Because alone, you can't do it. You have to have a good support system to overcome nicotine addiction, which is hard. And I can tell you from my own experience, it's not the easiest thing to do.